Welcome again to another edition of Post Match Pulse. Going to do something a little bit end of season style, post match pulse. Rob McLaughlin and myself, Sean Fecteau, here, a duo style post match pulse. Going to go over a little bit of the AV Alta game, which was, of course, the last regular season matchup for the inaugural season for the Hearts of Pine. And, that finishing up at a 2-2 draw. Couldn't quite get the home playoff. Couldn't quite get over that hurdle there for the Hearts this year. That three-game losing streak probably really put it away for them there towards the end of it. But the chance was still there. Of course, we had to have a win. Did not happen. We had a draw. We didn't really have to worry about watching any games after the draw there at Fitzpatrick Stadium. But we will go over that, which is your typical post-match pulse. But we got a little bit of extra for you here. After breaking down the game, we're gonna just kind of have a little bit of review of the table and where the Hearts finished. And we pulled out an old preseason table there that I had there back in March. Blew the dust off it. Still had some chuckles.
I'm excited to talk about that one.
We're gonna go ahead and throw it up on and you individuals that are watching us on YouTube. You're gonna go ahead and actually get to see the chart that I went ahead and put up there. A table, 1 through 14, my predictions. It was supposed to be a group project, but I was the only one that did it. So we're going to go ahead and we'll do a tear down, if you will, of that preseason table. And again, if you're on YouTube, you'll be able to go ahead and see it and follow along. But for you audio listeners, we'll do our best to paint the picture for you. And then after that, we're going to get into a little bit of kind of season highlights in terms of personal highlights for both Rob and myself, and maybe a little bit of news around the league that is breaking. We'll probably share with you, and then of course we'll go ahead and wrap things up with a little end of year parties and announcements and all that good stuff. So, Rob, you ready to light this thing off?
I'm ready. It was an exciting match. I think going into it, there was a lot more anticipation than I expected. I think especially coming off of the Spokane game, which delighted every single person that watched it.
Yeah.
I think we came into this game feeling a lot of momentum, and knowing that there was still a pathway to get a home playoff match meant a lot to the supporters. I think the players knew it. Certainly, it was hard to kind of miss the joy in the stadium in the first few minutes. My wife actually was with me. She had gone to the Westchester game, and that had been her first game in a few matches.
Yeah.
And she asked me, "What's this weird vibe that's going on in the section? Like, it feels so strange." And I was like, "Yeah, well, it's been kind of rough these last couple of matches. Everyone's kind of a little bit on edge."
Yeah.
And the start of the AV Alta game, she's like, "Wow, there's none of that this time. Like, everyone's like really ready to go. This feels really good." So at least from the pre-match sort of perspective, I think we were all on the same page. What was kind of your perspective, Sean?
Yeah, so kind of coming into it, I knew, as previously stated, I knew we needed to have a win, right? And then we were still going to need a little bit of help there from, Union Omaha and FC Naples. They didn't have to lose, but they had to at least drop points. And they had both had a couple of pretty tough opponents, so certainly possible that both of those teams that night could have dropped points. But coming into it, I think I had kind of basically come to terms with playoffs, and that's all it was going to be. But knew there was something to play for, and we kind of owed AV Alta one. With the last time we saw them, they came in and they defeated us 2-0 at Fitzpatrick Stadium. So I kind of felt we owed them a little one. So only one of two teams to take all 3 points off us at Fitzpatrick Stadium this year. Um, and I kind of felt that that was probably on the front of the minds of the players and the coach. And I was kind of telling myself, you know what? I think we probably can get 3 points here tonight. And we'll see if we get lucky after that. I don't know if I was 100% confident on both teams dropping points that night, but there was a chance. And certainly coming into the grounds, I knew DU had the a tifo ready to unveil, and it was kind of that Halloween type of vibe in and around the grounds. Um, Real crisp, cool night. Um, I mentioned got a chance to talk with you and your buddy of yours there that you brought to the game that night, and kind of chew it up a little bit as we saw the starting 11 and the starting 11. I don't think surprised too many people. I think everything was pretty much straight down the pike from what I recall. We saw Sega back in the lineup again. Um, Anything that you can recall lineup wise, Rob?
Yeah, no, I thought it was a pretty good lineup given the fact they had played on Tuesday. As you had mentioned, we saw Sega come back in, which I think is good going into this weekend.
Right.
Having him get some more minutes. He looks a lot better than he did. I think he's getting more comfortable on the pitch, even though he's had a couple setbacks this season.
Yeah.
Definitely good to have him back. But yeah, I think from a lineup perspective, it was basically the Hearts we've seen these last 2 months.
Yeah. Yeah. And Sego is kind of as Messer moves forward, and kind of a back three kind of forming there with Sega kind of in the middle. Green was on his left, and Shandon Wright was on his right. And then at times when both Shandon and Messer would both move forward down the flanks, you would see usually Mikey Lopez kind of move back and kind of solidify that back three, depending on where they were on the pitch. Um, and we saw a lot of that throughout the match. And I think Sager is pretty comfortable back there in that middle of that back three, and we didn't see as much distribution like we have in the past with Sega, but he was certainly doing his job defending back there and trying his best to keep everything clean in the field of play. But of course, as we get into it, that was not where the danger lied for the Hearts in this match.
No, it wasn't, and we got it kind of early in the 8th minute. There was a foul. I can't recall off the top of my head which one of our players caused it,
Yeah,
but it gave AV Alta a free kick in a kind of a rough position. It's a position that Hunter has had some difficulty with before, and trying to block shots from that particular spot on the pitch.
yeah,
Um, and they just came right up. I'm trying to get the name of their player right now. It was Blancas. Blancas kicked the ball and in it
yeah.
went. And at the 8th minute, it's down 1 for the Hearts.
Yeah, like you mentioned, he had a tough time with that one, and he had also had a tough time with Obregon Jr. Almost identical kick, right, where we played
Mm-hmm.
Westchester, and um, I think there was another one just maybe a game or two before that that's kind of slips my mind on which one it was, but it was like he had four of these within a 3 or 4 game span, and certainly something I think Hunter is thinking about. So hopefully something Yuta can help him out with, whether that means just a little bit more push off or just kind of getting them tuned up and ready to defend those things. And the defense can certainly help out in terms of trying not to foul in that area of the pitch if they can help it. But I mean, you don't want to hamstring the defense. You start doing stuff like that, then you're not being physical, then you're not being aggressive, and now you got different problems, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's probably Yuta's job this week is to get with Hunter and do some drills and get some confidence drilled back into him, and don't worry about it. This is something that we can get a handle on going into a Chattanooga team that loves their set pieces.
Yeah, that is perhaps a concern looking forward, but at the same time, it's only been in this one position. I think Hunter's really had
Yeah,
difficulty consistently.
yeah,
Generally, I think he's a very solid goalkeeper. For whatever reason, when the ball is in that one particular spot on the pitch and there's a free kick, and I don't think it's been the whole season, it's just been the last month, maybe.
yeah.
That spot's been difficult. So I don't know if he's trying a new routine or something in practice that's throwing him off a little bit, or it's a little bit of the mental thing. But I think you're right. It's definitely something that Utah and Bobby Murphy want to kind of focus in on before the
Yeah.
postseason really kicks off.
Yeah, so now, after that, that 8-minute goal there from that set piece from Blankus, 35th minute, we got a nice corner kick, a quick corner for between Ollie and Nathan Messer. It was a defensive play that sent the ball out the back that set up the corner, and AV Alta were still high fiving each other, congratulating each other on a nice defensive maneuver on their part to kind of push the ball out the back. It was some dangerous shot that was available for the Hearts, and it got defended out the back, and they're good job, good job, good job. And Ollie and Messer made a dart for the corner and took it very quickly. And I was down on the edge of the pitch watching it from down on ground level at the time, and you could see you could see the surprise at AV Alta on the quick corner and rushing to try to hurry up and get into position as Nathan Messer was dispatching the cross into a charging Masashi Wada and hit the header on the near post and deflected it into the goal. And the Hearts equalized in the 35th minute, 1-1.
Yeah, I think this is a tempo thing. It's something that our team does very well at. When it comes to set pieces, going really quickly and immediately shooting right off. Not all refs allow it.
Yeah.
That's given. But in this case, the ref did, and Chattanooga took their eye off the ball and weren't focused in the moment. And because of that, they left a gap open, which Masashi masterfully put himself in. And I think when we scored it relatively quickly after the first one, at least from my perspective in the stands, I think everyone was still feeling really good. It felt like a game we were controlling. AV Alta was having opportunities, but they weren't really getting the ball in the net in a way where you're like, oh, Hunter might not get that. Everything was very controlled.
Mm-hmm.
And in that moment, I was feeling really good after that goal.
Yeah, Coach Bobby Murphy mentioned in the post match press conference in his reflection of the match, and a few more things we'll touch upon a little bit later. Is he felt from about that 35-minute mark when they equalized to to about the 72nd minute. I He said it was basically some of the best soccer he thinks they've played all year long. Just never ever backing down, always going forward, pressing them. Um, a lot of attacking runs into the box, really putting them on their heels. Really proud of what his Hearts of Pine did there from basically minute 35 to minute 72 is certainly what he wanted to highlight for everybody. But going into halftime, as you mentioned, drawn at 1-1, everyone feeling pretty good, and then they come out and like Coach Bobby Murphy mentioned, very aggressive in the next 20, 25 minutes. And we get to the 63rd minute, and we have a Nathan Messer goal, where I believe is with his left foot over in that right hand side of the net. Kind of come off from a rebound. I think they was taking a shot, got defended. Uh, Keeper could not keep his hands on it. It rolls out in front of Messer, and he leathers it into the back of the net. And we're 2-1 in the 63rd minute.
Yeah, another really attractive moment of soccer. Again, AV Alta left that space open that you just can't do with the Hearts. And Messer happened to be in the right spot at the right time when their keeper made that error and again scored. It reminds me in a way of kind of the relationship between our two teams. We ended up very close together in the table.
We did. Yeah.
I think the two what the eventual result that happened, the 2-2 draw, made sense. Both teams are very good in different ways, but in this particular case, the Hearts was just able to exploit the mistake of a keeper and scored a goal.
Yeah, and to your point, Rob, about the kind of comparing the two teams, and when I did a crossover um, uh, with with Tumbleweed Times, and we talked a lot about kind of where AV Alta has been throughout the year. and their first third of the season was really, really hot. I think they climbed as high as second place in the table, if I remember correctly. And
Yeah, they were really high that first half of the season to the point where I was like, "Oh, is this like the new wonder kid on the block this
right,
year?" And then there
right,
was a bit of an evening off as the season went on to kind of a little bit of a slide at the very end.
yeah, they did. And I'm trying to remember. I think he said they went 12, 13, 14 games winless there for quite some time. From both, when they came and saw us, I think that was kind of one of their last haymaker days, and they went on quite a slide and ran down through the bottom of the table, and right towards the end of it here, they had kind of a last chance at trying to make the playoffs, and um, they were really throwing everything they had at us in this match, trying to do what they could for their club and their side. And um, I think they ended up finishing up with maybe a couple of draws right towards the end of it. So really, the large chunk of the season, um, probably not really what AV Alta would want for their first inaugural season. But after the Nathan Messer goal, we get a yellow card from Masashi Wada, and it's not the first yellow card of the match, but it's certainly the first one we really want to make sure we're highlighting because you know he got it for dissent for arguing calls, and it kind of goes into a common theme that we have talked about throughout the year. It's no surprise that we're sitting here talking about the quality of a referee and um, like we've always said before, at least what I've always said before, is you can call it any which way you want. Just be consistent is all I ask. If you want to call a game with not a lot of stomach for physicality, that's fine. But just do it all the way through the match for both sides, so everyone understands how to play. Um, and I don't think we were seeing that consistency with this referee. And of all people, Masashi Wada was just frustrated, absolutely frustrated with it, and was kind of giving the referee a piece of his mind a little bit, and he got carded for it. Rob?
Yeah, I think in the context of the second coming yellow card, this was a very frustrating call. For exactly the reasons you say. I don't know that the ref was calling fouls the same way for both teams. Certainly, certainly there's a bit of grace you need to give a referee in this league because one, they're not professionals. They're semi-professional pro refereeing at this level. And then, generally this is the training league. This is where you see referees that end up going and refing
Yeah,
in the MLS or they ref in the championship. They do all their training in League One. And unfortunately, I think my takeaway from the season in terms of refereeing quality is you can't have a professional level league, which is playing professional level soccer, with a development league referee. And that's basically what the referees are. They're in development. They're trying to move on, advance their careers to work in the MLS. Instead, what we need in League One are referees who are there to referee League One. That is what they do. They don't necessarily have further ambitions at that time. They are already locked in, ready to go, and are a good referee when they take that job. And we just don't have that right now. It's a lot of different factors for why that is. Pay is certainly one,
sure.
resources is another, travel is difficult. I'm not saying it's not systemic. I think it is systemic. It's not an individual referee's fault. I just hope that U.S. soccer in the league can sit down at the end of the season with League One and cash out what the issues are, because we hear it from every team in the league that every now and then you get a ref that for better or for worse doesn't know how to ref a game and is still learning. And it's unfair to our guys. It's unfair to Masashi Wada to have refs in training, refereeing games where they're making their money on. It's how they make their living. It's frustrating for fans, but I'm more frustrated for the players who have to get looked at by scouts on other higher division teams based on this type of play. And yeah, it's rough, but So Masashi gets booked, and it happens. And if that wasn't annoying enough, a few minutes later, they come in and Blancas from the exact same position scores the exact same goal for the second time in the night.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, obviously, with the change of halves, it was on the opposite side of the field, but from the same distance and the same side of the box, it's basically identical. And the same end result in the back of the net. And it's just kind of one of those deals. I had to kind of do a little perusing of some of the rules of soccer. I think it was Law 13. I had to go take a look at because on corners, and I've seen this in U.S. women's national team finals before and stuff, where they'll put a player right on a post to kind of shorten the width of the goal a little bit, right? And I got asking myself, man, why don't we just do that on free kicks, right? Maybe that's something that UTA can do, right? And I'm like, there's a reason why they're not doing it. I go, I'm pretty sure there's a law against that. And I went and I started digging through Law 13, and from the way I read, any free kicks that are outside the box, you can't have any players right on the goal line at all, other than the goalkeeper itself, is the way I read
Mm.
it. And if you do, they're supposed to take the kick over again, um, assuming it was a mistake or whatever, that sort of thing. But of course, if it was intentional, they'd probably, yellow card you or something like that. But
Yeah, it's a position we need to work on, that specific um, goal position, because especially the fact that having twice in a single game, I think other teams are going to really notice that. And I'm not going to say that they're going to try and get a foul in that spot, but I
oh,
think
Chattanooga's going to try us. You
they're going to
can
try and get a foul in that spot.
you can be guaranteed that is a highlighted piece of their game plan playing us. Guaranteed. The
Yeah,
coach is drilling them, saying try to get a foul outside the box and let's pressure test this goalkeeper because he's led in 4 in the last 3 or 4 games or whatever. We need to test him. Any chance we get, we need to try to get a set piece outside the box, 25, 30 yards. That's what we need.
yeah,
Um, Guaranteed. That's part of their game plan. So it's up to us to defend it. So
yeah,
so yeah, 2-2 in the 70th. They hit us again with a free kick, and in the 72nd minute, Masashi Wada um, making a tackle down the flank, and he kind of, the player is running away from him, heading down the field, and Masashi runs up beside him and goes in on kind of like a um, not necessarily a slide tackle, like a side tackle type way, but basically he goes down on his side and tries to bring his back foot in front of the ball and kind of take it out that way. And he kind of got a little bit of his heels there with his sliding foot coming in behind him, and maybe this time referee, maybe rightfully so, gives him a yellow card. But that combination of argument with that first yellow card that we were talking about, in addition to this yellow card here, sees Masashi Wada sent off for, I believe, the first time this year. So yellow accumulation, red card, Masashi Wada sent off in the 72nd minute.
yeah. I tend to agree with you. I think it was a foul that was probably enough to warrant a yellow, but with the argument, it's very annoying. Yeah, I think I've said what I've had to say about that. And officiating in this league.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like
No.
I'm not gonna ramble about that the next post match calls too.
Yeah. It's one of those deals where you don't want to just keep on beating a dead horse, but it's something you got to talk about.
It's yeah,
It,
I mean, yeah. It's I don't want to talk about it. I'd much rather talk about a tactical issue or a real like live foul that happened or whatever. But it I mean, you see it. Refereeing issues tend to lead to other problems. You saw it in Turkey this week with the gambling struggles within that federation's referees. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
when you have referee problems, it kind of takes the whole game and makes you question it.
yeah.
So,
When it affects the game to that level, you have to talk about it. Whether you want to talk about it or not, you have to talk about it. So
yeah.
it's one of
Yeah.
those necessary evils, unfortunately, that will probably continue to creep on here in USL League One regular season. I think I talked to you this about this once before, Rob, but I'll bring it up here on the podcast. Is my hope is, and my hope is that you know throughout the regular season, all these referees get rated, right? And they have ratings and stuff. And I think that all kind of goes into how they assign referees for playoffs and all that sort of stuff. It would be nice, and I don't know this to be true, but it would be nice if they've got a pool of referees for both championship and USL League One, and knowing that both regular season is out for both championship and USL League One, if they could just take the top of both sides and what whoever is ranking up at the highest, they just they just run playoff games, right?
Mhm.
So at least playoff wise, you've got the best of the pool.
Yeah.
Whatever that means, at least you've got the best of the pool, and you go from there. Uh,
Fingers crossed that's how they do it.
yeah,
Hopefully.
hopefully. I'll tell you what. The one good thing is it was thought about by me, but I never really talked about it. But one of the players mentioned, and I think this was even seconded by Bobby, but I won't say that he seconded it because I can't be 100% sure. But one of the players definitely mentioned that Spokane game was one of the best refereed games of the year. They felt pretty strong about that referee in Spokane. I don't know how you felt about that one.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard because you don't want to say only the games you win, you have a good referee.
Right, right, right.
I
Yeah,
will
it's
say,
pretty easy, right? Especially when you win
yeah,
6-1. It's like, oh, that was the best referee. But um,
yeah.
trying to
I
put
will say,
score
I
level.
feel like I'd have to go back and look at the list. I thought the referees we actually had in the month of August were actually pretty okay. There were some towards the end of July. Like we've had good referees. There have generally been people where I've been like, oh yeah, that referee did a very good job this
Yeah,
match. Um,
yeah,
but I can think of one particular ref we had twice that on both occasions it was absolutely horrible to watch. I mean, the
yeah.
Madison game, genuinely, I think that ref should probably not be allowed to ref any matches in the league anymore. Um, but yeah, I mean it's that guy at the Spokane game seemed to do a fair job. Um, you know, I don't know. I think that the way refs get evaluated maybe is slow. That's my take. Maybe it needs to be a little bit faster. I don't know. I don't really have good ideas. I'm saving my takes on how to improve refereeing in this league for our inevitable off-season conversation of how to improve the state of U.S. soccer. But I promise I will have ideas at that podcast exactly how to fix the system.
I can't wait for your campaign for a U.S. soccer position. Change this for us.
Oh God, you don't. No. I don't need any of that headache. Thank you.
It's
No,
either
thank
you or Charles. Who's it going to
you.
be?
Oh, Charles can have it.
Can you imagine Charles on the board of U.S. Soccer in charge of referees? That's
You know what? I want to see it. I want to see it. Charles, if you're listening right now, put in the paperwork. We'll be your references right here.
that's a
Don't worry.
reality show waiting to happen right there. That's must see TV. So, anything further on the last regular season match of the season there with AV Alta? The rest of the match from there on out, back and forth, back and forth. A few half chances here and there. A lot of tight
Yeah,
play, but it ended up 2-2 at the final whistle.
I think my two comments are it was really great to see Kobe Canones and Azad Liadi back on the pitch. They
Yeah,
both came in as subs in the 81st and 82nd minutes. And it was just good to see them back. You
yeah, it
know,
was.
we've missed both of them for a little bit. Kobe for probably about 2 months. Azad though has been out since June.
He's
So
been out a while. Yeah.
yeah, it's been a long time. So I was really happy to see them back out on the pitch. We don't really know contract wise what either of them are doing, but we do know that Azad's out is a loan player.
Yep.
So unclear what he's going to be doing in the postseason with us. But potentially that could have been his final outing if he ends up going back to Lexington. So it was good for him if it was his last match to have that kind of send off at Fitzpatrick, I think.
I think, and I don't know this, but I think he is probably going to be with us because Lexington is not in the playoffs. And you're right; it all depends on how the loan paperwork is written up. If it's regular season only, or we just get him until our season ends, which means we do get to have him in the playoffs. I really hope that's how that's written up, because that'd be pretty disappointing if we only saw him in his last match. And we're going to the playoffs, and certainly as we'll talk about it here, we're not going to have a Masashi Wada with us. So boy, wouldn't it be nice to have another striker, if you will, whether it be Leotti or Washington or
Is
whatever.
that confirmed, Sean? Does the discipline carry over into the playoff competition? Because I was looking this week and a lot of statistics don't carry over.
From what I can only go from what I read, and I was trying to make sure it was USL specific. I don't want rules from all the leagues all across the world here. But what I was reading is that the yellow card accumulation, in terms of like a Mikey Lopez suspension for accumulation for like 2 games or something like that, that does not go into the playoffs. But a red card suspension does carry over into the playoffs, is my understanding of it.
I think that's trash.
Yeah.
Because my take on that is they are kind of separate competitions. The USL regular season is its own thing. It's its own competition. The playoffs is its own separate thing. It's a closed cup competition that you get into based on how you do in the regular season, just
Yeah.
like the EFL Cup or anything else. It's just structured in a playoff format that's more normal for American sports. So I find it odd that the card carries over in this particular case,
Yeah.
but whatever.
I would love to be wrong and we see Masashi's smiling face down in Chattanooga. But from what I read, and again, I was trying to be specific to USL. Yellow card accumulation, you're fine. But if you get a red card in the last game of the regular season, that suspension carries over to the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. I don't really understand it in the soccer context. I get it in the American sports context,
Yeah.
but in the soccer specific context, no.
And if you get one in the final, just in case people are wondering, if you get one in, like you're in the championship final, right? And you get a red card and you're sent off in the final, you will serve that suspension in the first game of the regular season the following year.
Okay, I got more things for this episode, Sean. I got more things for this offseason episode. I'm writing it down right now.
All right, you write it down. I don't want you to forget. So again, the Hearts of Pine finish up their regular season with a record of 11 wins, 7 losses, 12 draws, 10 points on the positive side of things in goal differential, and one of only 4 teams to have a double-digit positive goal differential in the league in their first season. And they end the season with 45 points, 7th in the table, locking up playoffs. And we'll go on the road, of course, and we'll get into that here in just a little bit. As they'll go on the road and face Chattanooga in the quarterfinals of the 2025 USL League One playoffs. Um, Thoughts on basically their finishing record? 12 draws, 7 losses, 11 wins. One of only 4 teams to only lose 7 or less in the season this year.
Yeah, I think it was a good season. I think the first thing we have to talk about is the season within the grander scheme of the current Hearts of Pine project under Bobby Murphy. Even though our club somehow feels like it's existed for 20 years, based on how it's reported, we do need to remember this is still our first season. And Bobby said on day one at his first press conference that the goal for this campaign, for this season, was to make the playoff competition. By coming in seventh, we secured that role. We accomplished, in my view, we accomplished everything we needed to accomplish this season. That doesn't mean that we should be satisfied with seventh. I'm not really. I really
No.
wish we got that fourth place spot, because if you do the math, all it required was for one loss to have been a win, or for us to have gotten a win in another draw.
Yeah.
So math wise, we were so close to a home playoff game, so incredibly close. A few less injuries, maybe a little bit more squad depth, and we would have been there.
Yep.
So I think going into next season, we don't know what our roster is going to look like, and it's a little early to talk about that. But I feel really good as a Hearts of Pine fan. I feel like we did a really good job this season coming into the league, showing everyone that we're not just a bunch of really cool kits, some nice merch, a fantastic stadium atmosphere. We're also a team that plays very attractive soccer, that has the ability to achieve its goals that it states in the preseason.
Mm-hmm.
And going into this playoff competition, I think anything can happen. Shawn, correct me if I'm wrong, but Spokane, who went on to play in the final last year, also finished the regular season seventh.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
So anything can happen.
It's a great starting spot for us. To your point, Rob, is we can easily find ourselves in the final, and everyone kind of laughs, and it's like, all right, it's going to be Charlotte Independence against the Portland Hearts of Pine at Fitzpatrick Stadium in the final. It's like,
no. I want Charlotte Independence in Portland Hearts of Pine in Charlotte, because I just think that'd be really funny to fill several planes full of Hearts of Pine fans, and for the first time ever have the opposition outnumber the Charlotte Independence supporters in that stadium.
I'm pretty sure we could probably do that for them.
I don't think it would take a lot.
No, I don't think it would. So now we'll kind of get into the portion of the program here for the YouTube viewers, like we were talking about earlier at the kickoff of the podcast, is through the magic of editing. I will go ahead and put up the preseason table that I come up with, my top 14. Back in March, I think it was mid-March, I went ahead and put this together for one of the many podcasts that we had up there in the Portland shop there for the Hearts of Pine, the merch shop. And this is kind of our first stab at what a season would look like at the end of the year for the Hearts' first season. And Rob, you got some thoughts on the end game on this?
Yeah, really interesting. I think first off, we'll give you the prop, Shawn. In the top 4 teams, you did get 2 correct. So that was pretty good. Although I would be incorrect not to point out you listed Richmond Kickers as the best team in the league. Richmond Kickers almost got the wooden spoon. It almost came down to the last week with them.
I tell you what, I made a bunch of good brownie points with the Richmond Kickers. Let me tell you.
Yeah, they're big fans of you. Are they big fans of their team right now? I can't say, but
yeah.
That was pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I think it was really interesting. I think going into this season, I would have tended to agree with you actually about Richmond. I think the team you got right, which if I recall the episode where we talked about, is I didn't expect a whole lot out of One Knox. Right. And you put them number 4. They ended up winning the league.
Yeah. Shield winners.
Yeah, they absolutely. I'm sorry. They were the Shield winners. They absolutely had an incredible season. They came into the season with a very strong defensive line, but they really found some really good strikers and put together an incredible system. I can't really say anything bad about them. They played good soccer. Unlike a couple teams on this list. But yeah, and I mean, I think what's interesting is you, me, Charles, and Mitchell I think we all said that Hearts were going to end up either fourth, fifth, sixth, or seventh, and we ended up just about in there. We ended up in seventh.
Yeah, yeah. I think we were right around it. I think I remember saying I predicted them six, but I do remember some fourths and fifths. I think most of it was fifth and sixth, if memory serves me correctly. I think
Yeah, I don't remember who said seventh, but
yeah.
I'm sure it was a very dashing young lad from Westboro. But I wish we were higher, as I've said before. But yeah, it was just like I think Westchester for me the biggest surprise off of this list, based on preseason, was Westchester. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Um, of course, here I am, looking at the table, and I'm looking at Naples 14th. I
Yeah,
guess, I guess I have to say, since this is my list, I guess I have to disagree with you and say Naples was probably the biggest surprise. I remember back in the early parts of the year, we were talking amongst ourselves, and we were getting to know the players, and we were trying to figure out the players they had down there, and it looked like they were putting together a pretty decent group down there, but we were kind of asking ourselves if they were going to be kind of in sync with what their coach was asking them to do, and all that sort of stuff. And I think that kind of led me to, well, Naples might be a little bit of a mess this year, and I think that might be why I put them down there in 14th spot. But so for me, I guess I'd have to say, Naples was a big surprise for me. Here they are in a home game, home playoff match here at fourth. I had them down there at 14th. Um, but I did pick five of the top eight, two of the top four. I got that big blight at the top, and I got the big blight at the bottom. So I bookend on both sides, but the middle's good. The middle's pretty good.
it's a fun league. I will say I had watched a lot of the league before this season in preparations for us entering it. And I don't know if it's because finally I had a team in the race, but I found this season incredibly fun, especially the last 2 months.
Yeah.
Even the last 2 weeks. The amount of things that could have happened in the table were crazy. Like, I think on the last week of the season, the fourth spot for a home playoff game was contested by 3 teams, maybe technically 4, but that 4 was kind of crazy. And then the eighth place spot was contested by like 5 teams.
Right.
So it was a really, really fun. It's a fun league to be in. I'm excited next year with the expansion, seeing what happens. Now we've already lost Texoma, but hopefully that's the only one we drop this offseason.
Yeah, so we're recording on a Tuesday, Tuesday the 28th, and news to like Rob said, news today is Texoma FC will no longer be in USL League One. The front office deciding it's probably best for the club to go ahead and play in USL League Two next year. So we lose Texoma out of the 2026 USL League One season. So hopefully they can kind of get everything kind of pulled together down there in USL League Two, maybe for 2 or 3 years or whatever they choose to do. Maybe we'll see him again in USL League One in the very near future. But good luck to Texoma. Certainly don't want to see any teams fold. So I guess this is the second best thing in terms of still getting another shot at this thing and kind of getting their arms wrapped around everything and work on building some players down on the amateur side of the house and um, maybe take another shot at what this Texoma FC club can be in the future. Rob?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's difficult making the jump up to pro, especially if you're coming from nothing.
Yeah.
I think maybe this season is the first season we've kind of seen the Portland Hearts of Pine format for entering the league. There's been a lot of discussion about that at a national level, about why our club did so well entering the league. And I really do think it does come down to the amount of time that was put in beforehand.
Yeah.
We had about 4.5 years to create a structure here in Portland
Yeah.
that by the time the club launched, there was a lot of infrastructure already around the club, a lot of buzz about the club. Um, Whereas a team like Texoma announced very quickly, and they had a good first match. I remember the stadium being pretty full, but they just didn't have that infrastructure around them to sustain it. And it's hard in a state like Texas where you have a lot of other draws for people sports wise. You know, there's baseball, there's high school football down there. It's just it's hard when you have so many distractions, I think, to kind of teach people a sport that I think, especially maybe in that part of the country, it's still a little bit new. Rural Texas, the idea of soccer being a professional sport you go see. But certainly we've seen with the amount of other teams coming from other places like Florida, and a few teams being built up around the West Coast, that there are other parts of the country which do get it and are building really cool and unique products. Especially, I can think of Boise being one. They've already passed our record in terms of number of
Yeah.
season ticket sales. So that'll be, I think, a really fun time next year.
Boise has the potential of doing really, really big things next year. And I know that, Don has been in touch with some of the supporters and stuff out there saying, hey, what do you guys need from us? Like, you guys are just getting going. I can tell you kind of what we've been doing over here in Portland if you're interested. If not, I don't, just tell me you got it and you're all set, and that's fine. But I'm just reaching out to you and just saying I'm more than willing to share the blueprint, if you will, with you guys, and kind of telling you what we were trying to hit in terms of time frames and marks and where
Yeah.
you should be before game one and all that sort of stuff. And so good on Don and the leadership of the Dirigo Union to reach out to those guys and and kind of lend a helping hand and wanting to see another supporters group and another club in USL League One really do well for themselves and in turn doing well for the league. So to have that vision and to have that perspective, good for the Dirigo Union leadership, right?
Yeah, I think they've really done a good job at trying to foster community. Certainly I think we do go into places like the USL One Discord and perhaps
Yeah,
stir the pot a little bit. But
yeah,
at the end of the day, I know everyone I talk to in the supporters group feels very strongly that the more we can grow soccer culture in this country, the better off it is for everyone. Because it's a lot
mhm.
of fun to get to go to away days and have that friendly banter at the bar beforehand, and then
Absolutely.
go to a match, which is consequential for both fan bases. I think that means a lot to have the ability to after a match go online and talk to other people about things you care about, and it's going to be really fun to have more clubs in this league that have fan bases like ours.
Yeah, the more and more environments that we can mimic what we do week in and week out there at Fitzpatrick Stadium. Just imagine having a large majority of the teams with that same atmosphere in USL League One, and how fun that would be. Just it doesn't even really matter what away day you go to. It's going to look an awful lot the same in terms of a very loud and boisterous, energized type atmosphere. That's just fun. That's just fun to jump on planes and go out and see different parts of the country and meet different people with a lot of the same soccer likes and then things of sorts like that, and then get up into the stands and just be absolutely energized for 90 minutes, 2 hours. Um, it's that's what we really need to be working towards, and that's kind of what Don's trying to help those guys do out there. If they need the help, just making sure it's offered to them. Just to try to help them, get to the beginning of 2026 in the best possible way forward. Um, but we'll talk a little bit about player stats there at the end of the regular season. I had a few there that I was going to talk about. Two or three of them there that kind of jumped off at me. With, of course, we start off with Ollie Wright and his regular season stats. Ollie clocks in at about just over 2,100 minutes played this year in the regular season. 9 goals, 8 assists. I think he finished second this year. Nope, check that. Third. He finished third this year in the Golden Playmaker, which is the most assists. Ostrom from Omaha, Union Omaha, took that one with 10. Baccaro from Charlotte with 9. And then our own Ollie Wright, third, with 8 assists this year. Thoughts on Ollie Wright?
Yeah, I mean, just going off the statistic you listed there, I think I don't always love that statistic only because it requires someone to actually make the goal, and it kind of discounts some of the excellent crosses
Mm-hmm.
we've seen Ali make, especially in the front half of this season. We saw a lot of crosses into the box that just weren't capitalized on, and it's guys like Ollie Wright that create those opportunities. Um, and I think you know how important he is to the team when you just list all the honors he got this season. He was named to the USL One Team of the Week 10 separate times.
Yeah.
He was DU Man of the Match 3 times. August Player of the Month.
Yep.
He was Player of the Week on 2 separate occasions. And I didn't even remember this because apparently he didn't see a lot of minutes in July. He was named July's Impact Sub.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think all that together, he was our most awarded player in terms of the season awards that go on as the season is progressing.
Yeah.
So just an amazing player. I really was happy with some of the comments he made at the end of the press conference for the past game, talking about how much he's enjoyed his time here in Portland. We don't know if his contract's up because we don't know if any contracts are up at the end of the season, but
Right.
I look forward to a favorable contract renegotiation if that has to happen. Pay the man whatever he wants.
Bring him back. Bring him back. Absolutely. You'll be hard pressed to find anyone that does not want Ollie Wright wearing, Hearts of Pine colors next year. Just a outstanding player for the Hearts this year. And really just kind of leading that front line and putting dangerous balls in the box and taking players on and just beating them outright. Megan people getting hat tricks. We all saw how entertaining he was on the pitch and celebrations with the fans and jumping up into the stands and getting a goal on Father's Day and hugging his father and waving the corner flag there with a heart on it in front of the Darragh Union, and we can go on and on and on about Ollie Wright and what he did for everyone this year, and including his team. And yeah, enough said. Ollie Wright, certainly would love to see him again in 2026.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And I don't think you can really talk about Ollie Wright without also talking about Nathan Messer. Um, Here's a statistic I want to talk about is his total minutes played. And this is a little dated. This was before the match this past weekend. But he has a total of 2,548 minutes, which is our number one in terms of minute count. In a team that had several different rounds of different injuries for different players, someone who was very consistent the entire season was Nathan Messer. He clocked in every single week, every single match, and really did his job. And did it with, in my mind, with the total lack of selfishness.
Yeah.
He was always the guy trying to make the cross for somebody else. Towards the end of the season, he got some opportunities to score some goals, and they were all really wonderful things to see. But I really do think that Nathan Messer and the Ollie Wright duo is something to be talked about in this league in many different ways. It's an excellent collaboration, a great partnership. Both are amazing players in their own right, but together they really do form an amazing unit.
Yes, I talked with Nathan Messer when these minutes started to get further and further, and he made more and more of a separation in minutes from goalkeepers. Our left back is beating the goalkeeper in minutes by some 150, 200, even approaching at times 300 minutes. And I remember at one of the post-match press conferences, and we were happened to be talking to number 3, Nathan Messer, and I said, "Hey, Nathan, how are the legs feeling? You feeling all right? You want to talk about a lunch pail type of guy where he never is out. He's never subbed out. He never misses games. He rarely, I think maybe once or maybe twice, he didn't start a match this year. I mean, for from a player that puts out so much energy on your outside backs, they're meant to run. That's what they do, right? And you have a player like that is leading your team in minutes. Um, Nothing but work like type of energy and type of aura, if you will, that he's bringing onto the pitch when they're, some people may be in the middle of the pitch, back line, wherever you want to say on the pitch, and they look over and they see number three burning up and down the left hand side every single game of mostly every single minute, and they just go, if that guy's doing that, I just need to keep going because that's quite a leading by example.
Yeah, it'd be one thing if he was a center back and just hung there and didn't do as much running as some other players, but he is an incredibly active left back. And here's one statistic I think that just highlights that he has an average of 69.5 touches per game. Almost every, not just about every minute of the games, bar a couple, he's touching that ball.
Yeah.
He's really active in terms of what's going on in the play, and yeah, I mean, if he can keep up this momentum for a few more years, I hate to say it, but I don't know how easy it's going to be to keep our him on our roster.
Yeah, that was talked
He's
about as
he's good.
well.
He's good. I mean, keep him for as long as we can. But
Yeah.
man, he is an. It shocks me that he didn't get to play more last year in the championship for Rhode Island.
Yeah, he's one of those players that will no doubt get calls from other teams. There's no doubt about it. Especially with 7 USL League One teams coming in, they're gonna try to pull Nathan Messer off the Hearts. But
Yeah.
if if he goes anywhere, I hope it's up and not sideways. I hope if it's USL League One, he's staying right here with the Hearts because he doesn't need to go anywhere to feel any more loved right here in Portland
No.
and
No.
USL League One. And just to kind of touch upon those stats, I went ahead while you were talking, Rob, and went over to the heartsofpine.com and pulled up some general stats here for Nathan Messer. And 30 games played, 29 games started. So back to my conversation earlier of not starting maybe 1 or 2 games. Just one game he did not start. I'm sure it was because he was being rested.
And if I recall, we put him in pretty early in that match.
Yeah,
I think we
right,
put him in like the 60th minute,
right.
if I'm remembering correctly.
Only 3 times out of the 30 games that he played in this year was he subbed off. So Nathan Messer, playing 90 minutes some 27 times this year for the Hearts of Pine. Only subbed off 3 times. Um, and update on those minutes. You mentioned your minutes might have been a little bit old. 2,638 minutes this year for our number three, Nathan Messer. Probably just a couple more players I want to make sure I'm touching upon. Hunter Morse, our brick wall, led the league in saves this year in USL League One with 83 saves. No one had more saves in USL League One this year than Hunter Morse. Um, he ended up finishing with 6 clean sheets, and he logged some 2,520 minutes this year as well. And I was hoping he'd be kind of in the race for a Golden Glove. I think he was probably top three, but that ended up going to Smith, Chattanooga's goalkeeper, which we'll see this weekend. He gets the Golden Glove this year, which is basically, I had to go look and see how they did that. And it's a combination of basically uh, goals conceded, and I think it's minutes played, if I remember correctly. I'll have to double check that. That sounds a little bit off. But it's a formula like that. That's how they go ahead and they figure out who's going to be the Golden Glove this year. And so I think Nathan is probably in the top three, but not to be this year for the Golden Glove for Hunter Morse. I think I keep on saying Nathan. I got Nathan on the mind, but Hunter Morse. Rob.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was an incredibly solid keeper for us this season. He's got a intensity to the way he plays, and I think it shows in the way he analyzes the ball as it comes at him. Up until about a month ago, and we kind of talked about that when we spoke about our game against AV Alta and some recent things that have been going on. Incredibly solid. I think without him, a lot of the draws we saw this season would have been bad losses.
Right. I agree.
He had this way of coming through in bad situations and always stopping the ball, making sure he gave the outfield players opportunities to go out there and try and equalize or try and win. And especially at the beginning of the season when our defensive line was kind of forming and getting comfortable with one another, Hunter picked up all that stress. And I would say if I had to name one player that got us the position in the table where we are, I have to say it's Hunter Morris because of that.
Yeah. No, he earned us a lot of points this year in terms of draws and in terms of wins, doing what he does between the sticks this year for the Hearts of Pine. I've said it a million times. He's got the stats to prove it. He's one of the better goalkeepers in this league, and certainly yet another player that we would absolutely love to see in year two for the Hearts of Pine. Um, but
I have
go
just, oh, go
go ahead.
ahead. I was saying I only have one other player I really want to talk about
Yeah,
for me, and that's my guy Michel Pounangeron,
yeah.
who I don't know. To me, I said this the other day in an article we put out, but um, I feel like him not getting more man of the match awards this season was criminal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Absolutely one of the most consistent players we have. Here's a couple statistics I want to throw out there about him. His successful pass rate is 85% of the pass direction, so where he's passing the ball on the pitch. 36.5% is in the forward direction towards the opposition goal.
Mm-hmm.
Just some absolutely crazy statistics. Here's another one that I want to mention. Accuracy of passes in the opposition half, 79%. There were many games this season where in our own half we had trouble scoring pass. We had trouble getting that pass accuracy, but Michel was able to do it in the opposition half throughout the season. So I think that, and many times I've said he's kind of like our switchboard operator. He sees the whole field
Mm-hmm.
and he gets the ball to where it needs to be. Again, in an unselfish way. You didn't see him making charges at the goal. He only had a handful of shots all season. He's trying to see where do I get that ball so that way my teammate can score in the most unselfish way, the most professional way possible. And you can tell it's like he's seeing the field from a bird's eye view. He
Mm-hmm.
sees exactly. It's like playing a video game of soccer for him. It seems like, as opposed to actually being a player on the pitch. One of my favorite guys to watch.
No, he certainly is, and big reason, one of the big reasons why the Hearts did so well this year is MPA is good at distributing the ball and getting things set up for an attack, and also recovering the ball. Him and Mikey Lopez back there doing a lot of the recoveries. Sometimes Lopez would kind of break the ball free, and MPA would be the one to pick it up and start going the other way with it. And one of the other guys that we simply have to talk about before we move on is Masashi Wada. So a player that a lot of what he does you're not going to see on a stat sheet. A master of manipulating space and exposing space and bringing people into good places for attacks and shots is simply what Masashi Wada excels at. Um, Going back to some of the passing distribution stats that you were talking about with MPA, I'll echo the same thing. And one of the stats that kind of pop off the sheet to me is passing direction forward. 39.4% of his passes this year were forward. So between MPA and Masashi Wada, going forward, which is what Bobby Murphy preaches, is once we get possession of the ball, we want to go vertical and we want to be striking against the opponent as quickly as possible. Two very key components of the midfield to execute Bobby Murphy's mission is Michel Poon-Angeron and Masashi Wada. Um, Masashi uh, tied with the most goals for the Hearts of Pine this year with Ollie Wright with 9. A lot of people, will hear that stat and go, Masashi scored 9 goals. Not usually the one, people are usually talking about when it comes to goals. It's kind of been my experience talking to people when we're talking about Masashi Wada and 9 goals. But he really put quite a few goals together there in a series of about 3 or 4 matches, and really climbed the goal scoring charts. Right towards the end of the year, and the things that Masashi Wada does, and I talked about it before, and it's one of my favorite plays that Masashi made. Is making a bending run in between the back line and the back part of the midfield down at Greenville, and Mikey Lopez had the ball on the right-handed channel, and he saw that run that Masashi was making, and he saw where he was going to end up, and he passed the ball before Masashi even really got to the spot. So Masashi got there and made a quick touch on the ball up in the top of the box is where he was, right in between the back line and the midline. And one of the center backs come out to try to challenge him, basically, face to face. And Masashi, just a quick touch, went in. The ball traveled behind the defender, and Masashi rendezvoused with the ball that traveled behind the defender, and Masashi ran in front of the defender, got with the ball when about the corner of the 6-yard box, and shot the ball and roofed it into the back of the net. And you want to talk about some quick feet and some ninja like skills there with Masashi Wada, if you will. And I recall him wheeling away to celebrate, and 2 or 3 different Greenville defenders, all in the same position, with hands on knees and staring at the ground, kind of appalled at what they just witnessed with Masashi Wada doing the business on them in the box.
Yeah, I mean, I think Masashi's interesting. We've been playing him kind of in two separate roles this season. One where he runs at the goal more, much more in that attacking minded, and the other is a little bit more kind of as an advanced playmaker almost,
Yep.
someone who's up there at the top of the box, but not the one scoring the goals, making sure the strategic pass is made to either of the flanks of the field. I will say, in that direct, more goal scoring way, I love Masashi as a player. I hope we can maybe, if we can retain him, I hope in the offseason we can find someone to kind of fill that other role he's been doing, because he's so attractive when he makes goals. You can tell how attacking minded he is, and he kind of holds himself back otherwise. So another player I really hope we hold on to in this offseason, because he's been absolutely wonderful to see. And nothing gives me more joy than Wada's Instagram, see him go around the city with all the we have in town. I just enjoy that. One of these days, I will see him at Yosaku. One of these days.
Just a matter of time.
Just a
Um,
matter of time.
no, and it's also, I hear this a lot from a lot of neutrals. I talk to a lot of different people from around the league and up in the championship and so on and so forth. And I also hear stories from some supporters that bring some of their cohorts with them that are in the coaching ranks and different levels and so on and so forth, and they all say the same thing. I'll tell you a story from a counterpart from one of the podcasts there that I do with a Blazing Musket, and he brought a buddy of his with him that coaches and basically like the college level and that sort of stuff. And he told me, he goes, yeah, he goes, we were in the stands and the game started and we were there for about 15 minutes. And he goes, why is that guy playing USL League One? He was talking about Masashi Wada. You're just going back to the space and the vision on the field and what he was doing. it's above USL League One standards, folks. But um, that is certainly a player we would love, 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 love to see back here in Portland again next year. All right, so moving forward, just another one of those reflection pieces, Rob, is kind of what kind of our personal regular season highlights, both yourself and myself this year. If you could think back through from whether it be away day watch parties, whether it be Fitzpatrick Stadium, whether it be somewhere in between. Maybe just kind of give us some of the highlights from season one for Rob McLaughlin.
Yeah, it's wild. It's over. I feel we put so much work into this project before the season started that it kind of blew right by.
Yeah.
I don't know. I got a couple really good moments. I think, the first away day I remember really well. Shawn, you put together a great watch party at Rising Tide in Portland.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the first time we got to know a lot of other DU members that weren't involved in kind of the preseason work, and just slowly seeing that community build and build and build up until we had our first home match against One Knox, and the stadium has just been absolutely raucous since day one, really. I think the biggest moment for me, the most fun I had at a match. Was actually I will digress slightly. It was not a regular season game. It
Yeah.
was against Detroit City when they came to play us in the Jaeger
Mm,
Cup.
mm.
And my brother was there for that match, and he was a soccer fan way before I was a soccer fan. So it was really cool for me to show him what I get into now and
Yeah.
really experience that with him. Then the other match I would also say was my highlight. Also, not a regular season match, so I apologize for that, but that was our Pittsburgh game
Yeah.
at the very end of the shootout. That was an enormous amount of fun. Just the way the whole stadium got hushed and quiet for a game that did not matter at all because we were both eliminated at that point
Yeah.
was absolutely great. And yeah, we just I think we've had a really good run of it throughout this season. The club puts on such a great environment at all the games that even when we don't win and we leave the stadium absolutely destroyed, like I may have done after Ford Madison, um, I always feel great coming back later and seeing what is going, seeing the next match. I think between that match, I guess Ford Madison, and last week when we had the Spokane game, I went through the absolute range of emotions I have ever felt about a sports team. I left the game at the end of when we played Fort Madison at home, went home, and my wife and I did not talk to one another for 2 hours because both of us were really upset about the result. And then when we were up 6-1 against Spokane, I couldn't be at the game because I was on vacation, but I sat there glued to the TV screaming while everyone else who was staying in this house with me was like, he's really into soccer. Wow. I didn't realize what a big obsession this was. I was like, of course it's an obsession. They're up 6-1. This doesn't happen.
Who is this madman shouting
Well,
at his TV?
yeah, why is he yelling so much? But yeah, I am looking forward to this postseason a lot. What about you, Shawn? What were some of your favorite moments? You sitting up there in the booth.
Yeah, yeah. Tell me about it. Right. That was both a pro and a con sitting up there in the booth this year. Let me tell you. Um, I think going forward, I'll probably be doing a little bit more of the stands and probably trying to do a little bit more of maybe a 50-50, if you will. It's just something that I missed, and while a lot of my most enjoyable times this year was the away days where I get a chance to go out and be up in the stands with you guys down there in Rhode Island, and two trips down to Hartford, in those Lewiston games. Those were really a lot of where the better memories came from for me this year. Um, probably my best memory is, of course, bringing the family into this thing, and seeing what I'm spending all my time doing. Saying, yeah, this is what I'm talking about all the time. This is what I'm talking on the podcast about and all that fun stuff, and letting them kind of see it firsthand, and the different variations that each one took out of it. You know, I got with a kid coming in there and playing drums and mixing it up with the Bandits, and is now a Derigo Union member, by the way. So
There we go.
I think with Ash, he's doing the college thing right now, and that of course takes up all of his time up there in Bangor. But I think maybe once college is said and done, you might see him a little bit more regularly at these Hearts of Pine games, and who knows? Maybe he'll be a regular in the Bandits, and in there on the snares and doing his thing. But he went to 2 or 3 matches this year, and actually brought his girlfriend to one of them and whatever, and they had a really really good time. And it was kind of funny because she's not so much of the sports type, but she got in the crowd. She had the scarf. She was there to support. And actually, she said she had a really really good time. Lots of energy, and she was pleasant. In the amount of positive energy and the camaraderie that was up there in the DU section. So yeah, really good times. And of course, the front end of those watch parties, and like you mentioned there at Rising Tide, and getting together at Bayside and all that sort of stuff, where we were pulling some 120, 150 people in Rising Tide, and kind of had to split that between the zoo and Rising Tide because we were at capacity, and we had some 70 people or so up there at Bayside Bowl, and all the different businesses and stuff that we get a chance to interact with, and educate on what is over here at Fitzpatrick Stadium, and spread the word, which is a big part of what those um, watch parties are meant to do, is spread it around the state as far as you can spread it.
Yeah.
I think for year one, I think we did a pretty decent job at spreading it out there.
Yeah, and I can speak a little bit from some of the other roles I have in the DU. There's going to be a lot more of that coming up in season two. We've got some ideas about how to really kind of make this from just a Portland thing to really expand it out and other parts of the state, other parts of New England. So it ought to be a really fun thing. I can't disagree with you on any of that. I mean, I brought some of my oldest friends who aren't soccer fans to games, and some newer friends I've made since I moved up here to matches who aren't soccer people, and they all love it. It's just such a fun environment. We it's crazy to think that there are other teams in the league that don't get to have this, and I just hope that they find it because it's a very fun thing we got going on up here.
No, it certainly is, and that's to go back on what Don was doing earlier with you know Boise and all that sort of stuff. It's to build more of what we just got done talking about, right? And how that spider webs out into some 5 or 6 thousand people capacity in a stadium, and how that continues to spider web in every individual and all the different people they interact with, and bring other people into the soccer tent, if you will, into the soccer stadium, and share that atmosphere, and share the positive vibes. And um, that's just something we just need to spread further and further across this country of ours, and that's a little bit of how we do that, which is why it's so important. So, hey, if you don't know anyone that's been, if you do know somebody, is what I'm trying to say, that hasn't been to a Hearts game, or had maybe a little soccer curious, bring them to a match, and kind of show them what all this hubbub is about there next year, and the Hearts of Pine, and pull them into the tent, if you will. You good. It's a good thing. So next thing I just kind of want to get into is hey, we got a playoff game to talk about.
Oh boy, yeah, I know. We got that this week too. It ain't over yet.
So the Hearts find themselves seventh in the table and play number two Chattanooga Red Wolves down in Chattanooga, Tennessee, a very stingy defense, very park the bus esque, if you will, with the Chattanooga Red Wolves. Um, Rob, how do you see this kind of framing up, at least from a 5,000 foot level, if you will?
Yeah, I mean, so we did play down there once before this season in the mud pit. Yeah, I did, and it did not go our way. I think the thing that's going to be challenging about Chattanooga is they are a defensive-minded side, and we have seen many times this season that when you take a defensive-minded side and play them up against a counter-attacking Hearts of Pine, it kind of deflates us quite a bit. We don't get those opportunities to move into space like we prefer to do with a side that likes to go at the ball. So it's going to require us to be very disciplined and not get frustrated and give away poor fouls or anything like that. So I'm interested in seeing how it goes. I don't want to say we should maybe look at what will happen if we need to go to penalties, but it's very possible that Chattanooga just sits there. You
Yeah.
know, that's kind of their strategy. Just sit there, let the other team get hot headed, let them make a mistake, and then in that moment, go in and score a goal. It's going to take a lot of discipline for us to just sit back and wait and force Chattanooga to dictate the play on their terms or on Hart's terms. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a very boring first half, to be honest with you. I don't expect a whole lot to happen. I think in the second half, as urgency builds to get something on the score line, I'm hoping Chattanooga tries and runs one out and leaves open space, and that's when we're going to be able to go and score a goal. And if need be, I will say probably one of the better keepers in the league if it does end up going to a penalty shootout or something like that. If we end up tied, I have complete confidence in Hunter Morse. He's made saves before this season in penalty shootouts and in high pressure situations. So I feel good if that ends up happening. I'm not saying it is, but um, it'll be a challenging game for us. That's for sure.
Yeah, we'll be going up against the Golden Gloves winner, like I mentioned before. For Chattanooga Red Wolves, and that he got help getting those Golden Gloves this year just because of the nature of the way Chattanooga plays. Like I mentioned, that very park the bus style type of tactic certainly helps a goalkeeper get to those Golden Gloves, and I believe it's his third year in a row winning it. So it's one of those deals where you're in that type of atmosphere, and take nothing away from him. He's obviously a good keeper. He's making the saves and he's doing his job, but it certainly helps when you're playing in that type of formation and you're playing in that type of tactically minded side, very defensive side. It certainly helps with that. I would certainly put Hunter Morse up against him any day of the week. It's just that Hunter has to deal with a little bit more because we like to attack. And sometimes if the counter goes awry, the ball's coming back the other way. And sometimes Hunter has to kind of bail us out a little bit, right? So that's just the nature of the beast. But I kind of see it being cagey, just like you mentioned, Rob. I'm probably going to go into half, probably 0-0. Um, and then, the second half is where we're going to be looking to try to make our move. I do see us having to contend with some set pieces. I say we do. I don't see any AV Alta um, two free kicks going into the back of the net. I think we deal with it. And yeah, penalties are a very, very real possibility in this matchup. Very, very real possibility. So do not be surprised if we get through full time and we get through um, extra time, um, and we're still locked up, whether it be 1-1 or 0-0 or what have you. And we're going to decide this thing from the spot. That could be a really real thing. Um, Want to take a stab at a score line on this one?
Oh, geez. I mean, it's, I'm looking over the statistics right now, and the thing is, like, there are things where Chattanooga's good at, but they're all defensive statistics.
Yeah.
So I think if we're able to get one in, I don't know that Chattanooga is going to be able to respond with more than one goal. Like I just don't see them being an attacking mindset. I mean, their overall ball possession is 35.8%.
Yeah,
You can do a lot with 35.8%, but not with a park the bus sort of tactical system.
yeah.
Um, they I think they yeah, right here they have more clearances than we do. So certainly their whole view is if they get the ball in their half, it's get rid of it, as opposed to counterattack like we would do and push the ball up the pitch. So yeah, I would say it's probably going to end up being 1-1, and then it's going to go into extra time. From there, I'm hoping it's 2-1 Hearts. I don't really want to go to penalties, but if we have to, we have to. I think that's when it's going to get very interesting. From a statistical point of view, we've conceded 5 penalty goals this season. They've conceded 3. So Hunter, their keeper's a bit better than Hunter in terms of that one statistic. So that's my hopeful prediction. What about you, Sean?
Yeah. So I'm just trying to look back on the last time we played Chattanooga, and I think it is back in September. I think it was when the last time we played them. I thought we played them earlier than that, but that was when Kamali Green got his header on a set piece, and kind of got us off the snide, if you will, of our dry streak of no set piece goals. But I recall a match. It must have been earlier in the year. Uh, um, is I remember Chattanooga on a break coming down the right hand flank, and I remember a ball getting uh, whipped in from the right hand side in towards the striker, and the striker basically one timing it right out of the air and put it into the back of the net. Um, Actually, I take that back. I take that back. It did not go into the back of the net. Hunter stopped it, but it was one of those deals where it got on the Hunter so fast it went straight through his hands and bounced off his chest. So my point is they can be very very lethal on the attack. They have the quality to do those types of bang bang type of passes and type of plays where if they do get on a break, and they've done it all year long, that they can take their chances. And that's why they're number 2 in the league this year. So we certainly need to be on our game against the number 2 Chattanooga side. But when they come up to Fitzpatrick Stadium, you could make a case very, very easily on how we could have won that game up at Fitzpatrick Stadium. Um, so I think this matchup being at their place, it's going to be a little bit tougher. We're going to be on their patch of grass. I say we're 0-0 at the half. I think we're locked up at the end of full time 1-1. I think we are going to penalties. I think we're going to penalties, and I'm going to say
Yeah,
I'm going to say we win it in penalties 4-3.
yeah. I'm just looking right now at how they came to score their goals when we were down there last, playing against them, and looks like very close range affairs. Happened within the box both times. I'm hoping Sega's good enough to play a significant number of minutes and is feeling well.
I think he
Um,
will be.
I think his presence will help Hunter out a lot because
Yes,
both his size and finesse, his ability to move, will really help protect us at close range shots like those. Um, whereas Shawn can muscle the ball out of them, I hope. But yeah, I think this is going to be a game of defensive play. I hate that. It's the worst football to watch, but it's going to be a game all about defensive play. It's going to be very Italian.
So real quick, I'm going to go ahead and throw a starting 11 at you, and I want you to just go ahead and come back with any changes you think we may see to it. So, Hunter, of course, and then in the back line, I think it's going to be Messer, Kamali Green, Sega Koulibaly, and on the right back side of things, I think Vinberg is going to play right back for us. So as Nathan goes forward, we've got Vinberg and Koulibaly and Green as our back three. I think that will probably be what our back line will look like. Mikey Lopez, again, no yellow card accumulation that rolls over into the playoffs, so he's good to go. Same with Vinberg, by the way. And Michelle Poon-Angeron, of course. No Masashi Wada, unfortunately, for us in this playoff game. Please, 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 I would love to be wrong. I would love for everyone to be like, Shawn, you were wrong. Thank you. Thank you very much.
See, the only reason why I'm wondering if you're wrong, how does the yellow card accumulation reset, but a red doesn't?
Yeah, I think it's just because it's the end of year, yellow card accumulation gets zeroed out, right? But if you get a red card in the last regular season match, you're out for the next one. So if it's a playoff game, you're out.
Ah,
You
that's my official statement on that matter.
quote unquote.
Yes. Put that in the paper, Steve Craig.
So with no Masashi Wada, we got Natty James that's going to play the 10 for us in the front of that midfield. And then of course Ollie Wright, and we're gonna see Varela, I think, on that right hand side, um, because he's just a physical, more physicality out of that right wing is why I think we're gonna have Varela in there and bring Kamara on late, and try to do something for us, right? But I think Varela is going to be at that right wing. It's a possibility. It's a possibility that Bobby might do something with Liati, um, right there. Maybe Titus and Liati, depending on how Liati's feeling. So maybe that's a wild card, maybe an ace up his sleeve that Bobby might pull. I'm not sure. Especially with a real physical side like that. If you can get both Liati and Titus up there, maybe that's a thing he does. But just kind of off the top of the dome, possibility type deal. But I'm going to say Varela is going to be that right winger, and then Titus is going to be up top. Bro?
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with your. The only question I have, I actually like talking about Vinberg playing on the right. That makes a lot of sense to me. Because I think you need Sega and Kamali playing together as center backs. They've done fairly well together, especially Kamali. I think he has really come into his own the second half of the season.
Yeah.
Certainly the squad's most improved player.
Yeah.
He definitely deserves to start.
100%.
And Vinberg played really well in that position.
Scored a goal.
Did he start twice in that position or just once?
Twice.
Yeah, so at both times he started in that position. I actually think he did really well.
Yeah.
So
he scored, if you remember correctly.
Right, he did, and it was a good goal too. I think good goal, not as good a goal photo, but yeah, I think Vinberg in that position gives me a little bit more confidence, especially if Colby is maybe not up to full health yet.
Yeah.
I'd probably put Colby on the bench for sure.
Yep.
But yeah, I think Vinberg starting in that position is good. Totally agree with you on the midfield. I think James starting is a good call. I think after Spokane, I'm hoping he's feeling confident.
He's confident.
I think he's doing real well. He's a player I really want to see how he does in a playoff environment. I really do want to see him grow as a player. Varela, I also agree with. Just because I think the system we currently seem to be going with when we can, of having Varela start and then bringing JT on later, it's kind of a 1-2 punch for the counteracting defender on the other team. Because Varela is very physical, much more in your face. And then when you make the swap and you go to Kamara, now you're talking about a guy that isn't going to touch you. He's just going to go around you. And you have to defend 100% differently. And that change, I think, screws with a lot of defenders in this league. And it's a good strategy.
Especially if it's a real physical matchup and yellow cards start becoming a thing. We've seen that once before. I forget. It might have been Union Omaha. The left-hand side of their defense was getting some yellow cards, and it came late in the game, and Kamara came in, and he was wreaking havoc on the left side of their defensive formation. and they were substituting out. Like the left wing came out, the left midfielder came out, the
Mhm.
left center back came out, and they were putting new legs in there because Kamara was just having a field day with those guys.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that might be the situation, given this is going to be a very defensive minded game, that might work really well for us. If we get a bunch of their guys booked around where Varela is,
Yep.
make the swap to JT, and then they have to react to it.
And they're in yellow card trouble on that side
And they're in
their
trouble
formation.
already. I think that is a strategy that's worth exploring.
Yep.
My only comment is up top. We've seen a lot of changes to our striker position this season. If we had Wada, I would say do Titus and Wada.
Yeah.
That would be what I would say. We sounds like we do not have Wada.
No.
So with that,
if we have Wada, well, believe me, James out, Wada in. But I'm going on the fact that
I actually would leave James. I would leave James in that position. I would have Wada play up top with Titus.
Okay, so you would sacrifice Varela for Wada, basically, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That would be my thought. Just because I like him in that more attacking role. But yeah, I think Azad is the question. He hasn't been in the squad much since June. I think to me it's kind of an inter-squad dynamic thing. If he's been, and we don't know how that plays out at practice.
Right.
If he's been doing really, really well, gelling with everyone in a practice environment, 100% play him. But I think if that's not the situation, if that's not the case, you definitely want someone who's going to gel in there. So I think I don't know who I'd put in instead next to Titus, but
yeah, I just asked myself the question, right? Think back to the Lewiston days, the Cup days, and all that fun stuff when we saw Washington and Liati up there together, right? And now you have a more seasoned Titus Washington at the end of his very first professional season, and you got a Liati, which you got to ask yourself, where is he in terms of readiness? I think he came in one game for 15 minutes, and I think he played a decent chunk the last game. Did he? I can't remember.
It was about 15 minutes, maybe.
Okay, maybe not as much as I was thinking then. Okay.
Yeah, he came in I think the 81st minute.
Okay. All right. So yeah, maybe he's not. I was just toying with the idea of maybe he gets a start, but no. If he played 15 minutes last time, he'll probably be coming off the bench. So
yeah. I think he's an excellent player to come off the bench. I think it's good.
Oh, absolutely.
I just don't,
especially if Titus gets banged up a little bit or something,
Yeah, I just don't know if we have, our options currently are, Keegan, Noah, or Southern.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think Noah's got the fight in him, but I don't know if you want to put him. He tends to get really engaged with defenders. I don't know if that's going to work well in this match. Yeah. Southern hasn't seen a lot of minutes, and Keegan might not make it through the whole game at 100% condition. So,
right.
It's not a position I'd want to be in to have to make that decision, is what I'm trying to say.
That's why Coach Bobby Murphy gets paid when he
gets the big bucks.
All right. Anything else on the matchup for our first ever playoff game down in Chattanooga, Tennessee, Rob?
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting game for all of us. I'm staying at home. Shawn, I think you're staying at home. But we have a pretty big contingent going down. Last official count was 38. That was around noontime. I think it's gone up a little bit since then. So I think it'll be cool to see a pretty physical presence there at Chi Memorial Stadium. Is that what it's called?
I believe so. Way to go with that.
The mud pit. Yeah, so I think it'd be great to have all those people going down there and having a good time at that stadium. A shameless plug, if you do want to go down, make sure you check out the Dorigo Union. If you're not a member yet, we'll have a tons of guys and folks down there bringing kind of a home match environment as best they can to beautiful Tennessee.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, we might possibly push that half-century mark, for away support going down there. It would be awesome if we could go ahead and hear those guys down there hooting and hollering and cheering on the Hearts in their first ever playoff match. That'd be absolutely outstanding. But the DU is going to have a end of year bash this year at the cellars at Allagash Brewing, and just want to make sure we put it out there. There's if you're a Dirigo Union member, you would have an email that you need to go and take a look at and purchase a ticket. It's going to be November 21st on a Friday night, 6 to 9, down in the cellars there at Allagash. It's a little bit of a dress up party. It's going to be zoo animals is the theme. Rob and I have already conversed prior to the pod. We know exactly what we're, air quotes, dressing up as.
Yeah, we got a plan. So we won't say what it is because we don't want to reveal it to anyone. But I will say the party sounds like it's going to be a really good time. Bunch of different things going on. Sounds like there's going to be a DJ there. It's going to be a good get-together with all the Dirigo Union family one more time before we go into the
brief off-season.
Before we go into the Maine winter. Yeah, hopefully there's no blizzard that starts up early that day or anything. But yeah, it should be a good time. It's $10 for a ticket. You get to bring one guest who's a non-DU member. So if you got a friend that you think might be into this thing, go ahead, bring them down to Allagash. Should be an absolutely great time. Speaking of events coming up, we do want to also mention the club put out today that there are a number of different locations you can watch this weekend's upcoming match against Chattanooga Red Wolves. A lot of familiar haunts, Bissell Brothers, Allagash, the zoo. So make sure you head on to the club socials, check out all the different watch locations. There's certain also to be a bunch in other parts of the state. For you folks up in Aroostook County or up in the Western Mountains, talk to some other Heart supporters, put together a watch party. Match will be shown on ESPN Plus, so fairly accessible to everybody.
Yeah, I think they even got one happening over there in Bethel. I thought I saw a little something on the Discord. I think it was the Gem. Is it the Gem Theater, Rob?
Gem Theater's been doing a lot of matches lately.
Yeah, so maybe reach out to the Gem Theater if you're up in the Bethel area and you're looking to kind of get together and watch this thing as a group. Maybe ring them up real quick and say, hey, I hear you guys been showing some Hearts matches. What about this playoff match? You doing that? Yeah, sure am. Come on down. Certainly get out there in all the usual places. Even the June Court Pub down here in Dover, New Hampshire, will certainly be showing it. There's no doubt in my mind they'll be showing it up on the screen. And you never know. Maybe I'll scoot down to the June Cork and take it in. You never know. So
what a sacrifice for you, Shawn, getting it down to the June Cork. Wow.
All 20 minutes from me.
A lot of respect for you for really making that sacrifice.
Rob, anything else before we get out?
No, I got nothing else to say except for up the Hearts.
All right, up the Hearts.